Okay, all right. I think we're here. Sorry about that, guys. Oof, I think it's all working now. Is it working now? I'm not sure. Is everybody here? Sorry about that, guys. Today is April 30th, Thursday, 3 o'clock. It is happy hour, 5 o'clock somewhere, depending on where you guys are. My apologies for showing up really late today. Um, I've been having some issues when I've been trying to make thumbnails and schedule the live stream so that way you guys can see it and get into the live stream and be ready for it when everything's starting. And the last two times I've tried doing that, like I've made the thumbnail, I've got it started, I see it as like a scheduled live stream, and then I come into YouTube to try and start that live stream, and I see you guys in there, but then I can't do it from the iPad. So I was going to try to do it from my MacBook today, even though that camera's not that great. That really wasn't working. So I had some problems. Still new at this. Thank you guys for your patience, and I apologize for that. So hopefully, though, you guys are doing well and had good days today. Um, Check, make sure my mics are all still working. Everyone hearing me okay? I'm doing well. Thanks very much. For me today, I got some Gumball Head, which is a kind of local beer. It's a beer made in Indiana. Delicious stuff, a wheat beer. People over here go crazy for it. It used to be like really hard to get, and so it's a brewery that's smaller that very intentionally limits its production to maintain a certain level of quality and maybe frenzy a little bit. But it's delicious beer, and I'm enjoying it. So cheers to you guys. Congratulations for making it through most of this week and through the month of April. Let's see who's here. All right, we've got Jason is here. Anthony Kucher, Greg Idahara is here. Greg, I'm sending you something today. After this, I'm going to head out. I'm going to send you something. So something we were going to work on. We talked about it earlier. Stevie76 is here. The I guess chairman of the Happy Hour Club. Stevie76. What's going on, dude? Big the McDonald, Biggest McDonald. I always have a hard time. There's so many capital and lowercase letters in that, makes my eyes freak out. It says, "Hey, what's up? What's up?" Anyway, John Brian Serrano, Stuart Weirden, Louis Cameron, David Romero, Luis Becerra's here. What's going on, everybody? Junk Shoe says, "Yo, Kofuzi." That's awesome. Christopher Sanguino says he ran for the first time in a week and got shin splints 1 minute into the run. I thought that was going to end much in a much happier note, but I'm sorry to hear that you had shin splints. Um, but why for the first time in a week? Hopefully, are you coming back from an injury or something? Hopefully, you're doing okay. Martin Lang is coming in from Germany. Cool. Let's see. Anthony Cuchero says, looks good, sounds good. So thanks for that, for the confirmation on that. Just different microphones, different cameras, trying to keep things as simple as possible is the ultimate goal, but sometimes even that gets out of hand. Um, the McDonald's says, what do I think about Run Gum? I think it's Run Gum is what you meant to say there. I think it's an interesting product. I think that Nick Simmons is a very interesting CEO of the company. I think that we could be friends in real life, but sometimes I feel like he's a little bit over the top on his online persona. Um, but I've never tried the product. I've never tried. I may have tried a caffeinated gum before, but I'm not sure. But I at a certain point I used to use chew gummies for my run nutrition. I used to use Gatorade blocks and the Cliff blocks. Cliff blocks are some of my favorite of the gummies. The Gatorade ones are more available, but they're a little bit chalky. The Cliff ones, I like the gummy texture is really nice. But I stopped using those after a while because I just kept accidentally kind of choking myself chewing on gummies, and so I don't think I could run and chew gum. I can't run and chew bubble gum at the same time. So I think that's kind of my take on it. Anthony Kuchera says he loves Three Floyds. I'm a big fan of I mean, all their beers though kind of taste the same to me. I don't have the most discerning palate, but this Gumball Head stuff, pretty good, pretty tasty. Edgar Edgar Bueza says hello from East Harlem. What's going on, man? And Anthony Kuchera says, ever go to Dark Lord Day? No, I haven't. Some of my friends have, some of my big beer nut friends that are uh, people from the area, are huge into the Midwestern microbrewery scene. They've done that. Motivation Theory Running says, hey Kapuzi, good afternoon, everyone. What's going on, dude? Andrew Coffey, what's going on, man? 70s stash. I'm working on it. I'm thinking that I might trim it so it's just this, you know? See, that looks nicer. But that looks like I feel like I look like a big Asian carp when I do that. But then this is just normal mustache. That looks funny. But my wife has been having a hard time with it. And um, my wife is the type, obviously, someone that lives with me has a lot of patience. And my wife is very patient and very subtle. She won't tell me that I have to shave it off, but she's mentioned like pretty much like once a day over the like this past week, like, hey, so you like that mustache, huh? Okay. Like that kind of thing. So Mike Ralph says, when you be running Nike again? I think soon. I've been thinking about it a lot. The world has changed a lot in the last couple of weeks. And it seems like a very strange time to hold a grudge or to kind of like um, it seems like a really good time to restart things. So yeah, I'll be getting back to it soon. Leona Wong says, cheers from the San Francisco Bay Area. Awesome. How's it going? Natalie Thompson says, cheers with sparkling water because you're at work. Awesome. Yeah, I think, like I'm not gonna make it beer every time for every happy hour because I'll mix it up. During training, I'm not drinking that as much beer or any other beverages. So I'm very happy to join anyone in a beverage, sparkling, carbonated, or otherwise. Jeremiah Johnson is happy running from Missouri. What part of Missouri are you from? I lived in St. Louis for 7 years. I went to school there, and then I lived there for a couple of years afterwards. That's where I was dating my wife. Alex Williams says, "What's up, Go? What's up, Alex Williams?" Louis Becerra says, Goose Island gym videos are so funny. Would like to try that beer. Goose Island's been awesome. And, I had real concerns about that brand because it was a local microbrewery that started getting really big and then it got acquired. And people were really concerned that it was going to go like kind of like the route of like Blue Moon, where like it was like a microbrew and then it became like bought and commercialized and it became very like boring. But I feel like if I were in business school right now, I would do my case studies on the acquisition and culture integration or non-integration of Goose Island into the larger. What company bought it? Um, was it Miller Coors that bought it, or was it? I'm not sure. But whatever company it is that bought it did exactly what they said they were going to do, which was let that company basically just fund it, give it the flexibility to go and explore and do its thing while maintaining its own individual identity and culture. And I feel like it's really flourished and done really well since that. So it's gotten like an infusion of cash and infrastructure support and let the beer makers do what the beer makers do really well and give them giant distribution um, to be able to make those like weird, small, quirky projects like profitable because they can make it at scale. And so it's just been really fantastic. I'm really impressed, and I'd love to meet more Goose Island people to learn more about that. Um, from like a consumer perspective, I don't really care that much about the business of beer, but I just I've noticed it for sure because we've heard, living in Chicago, we heard lots of stories about how like people were really concerned about like where the brand was going to go. But yeah, it's been really eye-opening to see like when so many companies buy up smaller companies and try to integrate them into the culture, how it just a lot of times it just becomes brand homogenization or like brand killers. But Goose Island has been able to maintain that identity in like a really remarkable way. Uh, Super Smoltz says only two beers left. Spotted Cow. Don't know when we'll be able to go to Wisconsin to get some more. Gumball Head is a great choice. Yeah, Spotted Cow is probably one of my favorite beers, a farmhouse ale, and just absolutely delicious. Every time I go up to the Spotted Cow, for those of you who don't know, Spotted Cow is a Wisconsin beer that is only sold in Wisconsin, as far as I know. I don't think you can get it in other places. And so we're not that far from the Wisconsin border here in Chicago. We're maybe like 40 miles, 30 miles from the border. But anytime someone like travels in that direction, people pick up Spotted Cow, and it's just a delicious beer. Made even more special because of the fact that you can't just like go out and get it whenever you want. And so like anytime I go anywhere with my buddies, um, and if like my wife doesn't go, then I have to like bring cheese curds and Spotted Cow home. Otherwise, like I'm not allowed to come back home. John Brian Serrano says 90 degrees in Tucson, Arizona, hot running. Yeah, you guys have had a heat wave lately, haven't you? Christopher Sanguino says, I took off a week from training and it just happened. Yeah, it's all right though. I'm treating it with and adjusting with it. Okay. Well, hopefully you can get right back into it. Shin splints are tough. Find some grass or some softer surface to run on in the meantime so your body gets back into it. Um, Faded MFCs. I wish Believe in the Run would ship those hats internationally. Yeah, this one it's a nice hat. I really like it. They I don't know who their hat connection is, but like being able to like put this on like the visor, pretty insane. And like, have you seen the? I don't know if they've released them yet, but they've had some mock-ups, some new ones that they're gonna have like stuff on this part here. Amazing. It looks so cool. I don't know who their connection is, but and I don't want to ask them because I don't want to like, you know, step on their toes in making merch, but like whoever they're working with, that's a good find. 40's here, Chris 40 runs. Hey, bud, how are you? First time able to catch you live, been manic. Hope you and fam are safe and sound. All the best from UK. Awesome, good news to see you. I'm real happy that you're doing all right, man. I was worried about you for a little back there. Great to see you in the live stream. That's awesome. Paul Wen says, "Yo, has anyone delivered your back sharpies yet?" um, no, oh, I mean, we got lots of black Sharpies, but I'm getting used to the color of the red Skechers Performance Razor 3s. I just think that I need to beat them up. If I get them in some water, some mud, some dirt, once they have like the discoloration of like some hard miles in it, I think I'll like the color. Martha's here. Martha joining from Colorado. Hope you didn't miss too much. No, Martha, you didn't. I because you got a late start today. I apologize to everyone for that again. So you're here and welcome. Good to see you. Stevie76 bought some clippers on eBay. I wonder how much you paid for those. And yeah, I feel like if I do get clippers, I'm definitely gonna do. That'll probably be like the live stream for the day. Is me doing a haircut. I don't know how good the audio will be with like buzzing going on, but yeah, that's what's going to happen. I think at some, I don't know. I mean, in uh, in Illinois, who knows what's going to happen with like the shelter in place orders and stuff. People are getting grumbly. I don't know if you guys saw what's going on in Michigan at the state capitol, but that is some craziness. And there it's a little bit different in Michigan because you've got the UP to deal with, and it's like a separate country in and of itself. I mean, there's Michiganders and then there's UPers, so it's just a whole different thing. But I'm not saying that all the people that are storming the capital of Michigan are UPers, but it seems like it's like the militiamen kind of thing going on. But people are getting antsy here in Illinois too, and so who knows when the barbers will be open? But I don't think I'll be going anytime soon. Anyway, Ethan Stone asks, "Are foam rollers worth having?" I think that they definitely are. I got mine super cheap. Someone asked me on Instagram to like what kind of foam roller I have, and I sent him a picture. Mine is literally a piece of like white foam, like white styrofoam. It's a cylinder. It's maybe like 8-inch diameter, and it's maybe like 30 inches long. Um, it's just a white cylinder. There's nothing on it. And I bought it. It's probably like 10 years old at this point. And yeah, this was like before rollers had like nubs or ridges or like Bluetooth speakers built into them or vibrating sections or batteries or anything like that. It's just a white piece of foam. It's really cheap. I got it at like Fleet Feet or something like that. Um, and really cheap and worth having for sure. Martha says the mustache is like a pre-mustache. I'm trying to like I've been thinking maybe I need to get like some. I'd like to do like an old school day where I get like a tracksmith jersey, something old school with like the one stripe, like almost like a sash going across the corner, like and get like a split short and run in like a waffle shoot, like that kind of thing would be pretty funny, especially with this much. I mean, this is like a long distance runner. This is long distance runner's facial hair, I feel like, right? I mean, that's where I think we're at. Let me check the phone here real quick. Sorry, guys. All right. What else we got in here? My mom's here from New Jersey. Hi, mom. How are you? Rocky Adwar. Hello from the UK. What's going on? Federico Gonçalves Mendez from Portugal. Cool. Good to see you. Yeah, I mean, Jason Paris says, I'm not going to court, leave the mustache. Yeah, and my class is done that I teach as well. And I've had to make a couple of videos for that to, and like go to like some video meetings and stuff. And so that's all done too. My next webinar that I'm presenting like work-wise is until June. And I haven't even like confirmed that date yet. And so like I don't have anything professionally that I need to be there for to be anywhere for a while. So I'm gonna figure out something. But like this is a little bit crazy. It's getting like handlebarry. I was just watching I've been telling you guys that I've been binge watching the old Boston marathons, and I watched 2018, the end of 2018, and a little bit of 2019 today. And then, 2018's year Des Linden won, and then her husband has like, much better mustache than this, but it's kind of like this shape. And so I was like, okay, okay, that's a good like runner's mustache. John Burns Serrano says, well said, good to reset relationships, self, and life. Yeah, I mean, it's a time to reevaluate and make the best of it. Jeremiah Jensen says he was saying he's from Missouri. He's west of St. Louis and he's from Seattle originally. Oh, okay, cool. Well, that's a big change to go from Seattle to St. Louis. JC 8489 is here from Plano, Texas. I always feel like whenever there's an Instagram account and JC 8489, it's like letters and numbers with no like profile picture. It always seems like it's a bot. Like every time like I see one of those like following me on Instagram or liking my photos, but here you are on YouTube, like in the flesh, I guess. But I guess like YouTube user accounts, it's more common to not have like an avatar because you don't usually sign up for YouTube from your phone, or I guess you didn't usually. Now I guess now probably people do. Tribo Tri says Austin representing. Good to see you, Austin in the house. Simon Partridge says post 5K time trial foam rolling done. Now beer in hand. Oh, that's good. 5K time trial foam rolling and then a beer. That's a good Thursday afternoon. Although it's I guess Thursday evening for you now. So awesome. Anthony, because you're in England. All right. So Anthony Kuchera bought I thought InBev bought it. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's right. Or Bush? Yeah, InBev. Yep, for sure. Um, Cody Davis. Oh, by the way, for InBev, like, I went to school in St. Louis, and so for my 21st birthday, I took the tour of the Anheuser-Busch brewery. That was a pretty fun day. And then afterwards, I went to my favorite restaurant in Dogtown, which is a very cool little neighborhood in St. Louis. Seamus McDaniel's is the restaurant. Fantastic burgers, great atmosphere, and I just, yeah, feeling nostalgic for St. Louis now. Um, Cody Davis, as far as form goes, who is my favorite runner to watch? Right now, I love watching Suguru Osaku. He's fascinating to watch him. He's got such a high kick. I love watching Galen Rupp run. Those are two people that I love to watch run right now. Trying to think of who else I like to watch. I mean, who doesn't like to watch Elliot Kipchoge run? Um, but what I've been taking away from a lot of like watching the marathons, and I knew this already, is that like for the marathon, you don't have to have like the perfect like exactly like straightforward like arms to a certain point, like moving the elbows like exactly the right amount, having feet that hit exactly forward. Like as I was watching the 2019 Boston Marathon, I was watching and comparing Des Linden's form, which is pretty clean, to like Sarah Hall's form, which I feel like her form is a lot like mine, except for her left foot is a little bit wonky, whereas my right foot is a little bit more wonky. But I think we have the same thing going on. And so, like, just watching that and then watching the Kenyans and Ethiopians who tend to have like a much higher kind of like arm motion, it's all like forward, whereas Americans tend to be like from torso back. Kenyans and Ethiopians, Africans tend to be like from torso forward, in terms of their run. Stevie76 says he's not a bot. I know you're not a bot. He doesn't have a user profile pic though. But yeah, so like, that's the thing that I've been really taking note of, is that like, what, just do what works for you. And for example, like Elisa DeCisa, his is super crazy. He's so inefficient. If you looked at his form, you would not think that he was a two-time Boston Marathon champion and a one-time second place Boston Marathon runner. Like you wouldn't guess it by looking at the way he runs, but it works for him. I mean, some would argue like if he could clean that up, he'd be even faster. But I would think that if he tried real hard to clean that up, it would just screw him up. So, Reed Moore says about to go for 5 miles, but so hungry. Yeah, eat it, eat it. I like cookies and granola bars before I go run. It's like calorie dense food, and it's satisfying. Alex Williams says he's tuning in from West Virginia. Sent the random tweet about the cuffs the other day. Looks like rest is going to be the best for the injury, unfortunately. Oh man, stationary bike on the way. All right. Well, I've been on the stationary bike. I'm liking it less and less, unfortunately. Probably because I'm having problems with Zwift. But I have a Faraday cage little bag coming in the mail, so hopefully that will fix some of the sensor issues that I've been having. I can get back on Zwift with my stationary bike. But West Virginia, I didn't realize West Virginia was so hilly. It's beautiful terrain over there, beautiful places to run. Um, let's see. Anthony Couture says he's from Wisconsin. You get some spotted cow from Marsh Cheese Castle every time. That's the best place to go. I love that place. And like like I don't know who the regulars are at the Marsh Cheese Castle. The Marsh Cheese Castle is this like tourist it's kind of like this rest stop. It's basically I was telling you guys about Spotted Cow. The Marsh Cheese Castle is known because it's right after the Illinois Wisconsin border on the highway that a lot of people Illinoisans take to get to Wisconsin, and so it's there, and lots of people go there, and it's your last chance or first chance to buy Spotted Cow beer. And it turned out so from this like little like kind of like roadside stand to this giant place where it actually looks like a castle now, and they have food there, and there's a bar, and people like hang out there, and there's regulars. Those are some interesting people. But I do love the Marsh Cheese Castle. um, Motivation Theory says, "Give me a sliced orange and a blue moon, and a nice half a bed, and I'm a happy camper." Yeah, and I think that blue moon got a bad rap for a long time because everyone started drinking it, and then people got tired of like the it was no longer novel to have the orange slice, but it's a tasty beer. I'm not gonna hate on anybody for drinking it. I think it's delicious. So good choice. Faisal M, hi from Singapore. Oh, Stash, thank you. Max Hater says just plunked out 190 on some Jabra Elite 75 Ts. Thanks to you. Well, I hope you enjoy them. I mean, I think it's a great earbud. Those are my favorites to run in. The only time I don't is when it's like middle of July and it's super hot and I need like an ear loop. But other than that, that's what I like to run in. iGoogle says, how are the SL20s? I need to run with them some more. It rained 2 days this week. Okay, ask mommy. Mommy can help you. Okay. It's been raining a lot this week, so oh, hold on. Sorry, guys. What? Here? This one? Oh. Um, I know. I'm looking for it. Mommy can help you. Mommy can get you some. Go ask mommy for some. She can help you, okay? She'll get it. Sorry, the baby needed some snacks. She knows that they're up there, but like we have a bigger stash in another room. We have some up there, and the thing she wants isn't there. But yeah, I wish I could have run more miles this week. The SL20 is one that I need to give more attention. As there's a lot of shoes that I need to give more attention. So I'll get to it soon. Kenny O says, what do I do for hydration on longer runs with the lakefront trail closed and COVID generally? I doubt most people want to rely on water fountains. Yeah, that's a good point. Um, right now, I'm not running anything where I really need hydration. And so I feel like I'm not wearing a vest because I'm like, if I need a, they're looking for a snack. If I need a vest, am I being out too long? Is that irresponsible? And I'm starting to like become more comfortable with being out for longer periods of time for running, as long as I can be away from people. But to answer the question, what I will do is I'll do two things. One is get a vest or get a gel that's a little bit more liquidy. I like Unived. It has a lot more liquid to it than say like a goo, which is very concentrated and very thick, like a paste, like toothpaste almost. And or like Science and Sport or Martin, things that have a little bit more volume to it. If it's going to be really hot, which it hasn't been here in Chicago yet, what I'd probably bring is either a vest, and the Camelback vest that I've been using for shorter runs is the Zephyr. Think that's what it's called. It has two front. I think it's like a 2 liter vest. It can hold like a 2 liter water bladder in the back, or it has spots for water bottles and lots of other pockets up front. So I might fill those with like some of the soft flasks up front. Or I do have a water bottle that goes with my flip belt. I like that one, but not for hard runs because it's easy to get out, but you have to stop to get it back in. So like if it's a hard run and I don't want to have stops, that's one that I don't bring. So that's kind of what I'll be doing from here on out. John Bryan Surround says, I wouldn't call it a heat wave, to be honest. Talking about, I think, some Arizona weather. It's expected March, April timeframe. Oh, okay. They have three seasons, hot, very hot, and cold. That's funny. 40 Run says, thanks, bud. Apologize if asked before. What's your feeling on Chicago Marathon going ahead? Best mate meant to be coming over. August cutoff, you think? Yeah, I mean, my feeling on it is that like there might be some sense of normalcy in Chicago come Chicago Marathon time, but like a world major, I think there's just too many people come from too many places and like too ultra concentrated. Like, I mean, just think about like how deep the spectators are. Spectators can be like 6 to 10 people deep going on some of the streets here. And so like that's just gonna be too many people in too tight a space. Just think about the expo itself, and then the post race. Like, I mean, the post race would be at least outside, but like I don't I'm not optimistic for. I mean, I've got a bib. I'm signed up. We'll see. Um, Jason Parr says downstate. We're talking about the UP Upper Peninsula in Michigan. He says downstate is the same as UP. I have some. I have lots of friends from Michigan, so like I kind of borrow from their sentiments in terms of like the state demographics. And I've been there a handful of times. It's a lovely place. I love Michigan. Um, but yeah, Jason Paris telling me the downstate sentiments are same as the UP, which okay, I can see that. I caved in says Plano Ravine the Clifton 7. Yes, when it comes out. I got some new dates in terms of new release information. I don't have that. I'm not looking at it right now, so I don't have it in front of me. I think it's now slated to come out in July is for the Clifton 7, the formal release. So yeah, when that happens though, I will be. Paul WG, best running rain jacket. That's a good question. A lot of you guys been asking for that. I don't have a really great rain jacket because I tend to avoid running in the rain. As much as I love water, I don't like rainy runs. And my feeling about it is like if it's really raining, you're gonna get wet. And I'd rather just at least not be like swampy and super hot when I'm running. So I just usually get like a thin shell layer that's pretty cheap. I don't usually bother with Gore-Tex or waterproofing. I do have one kind of very, very water resistant layer, and it's like a athletic-ish jacket from Uniqlo that I think was like $30 that I wear. It's really hot though, and so like in the winter, or if it's like a cold rain, like 40 degrees and raining, and I have that on. It's a super thin jacket, but you get so swampy in it that like a t-shirt underneath is all you really need. So I might wear that. Otherwise, I'll just wear like a really thin like shell layer that is packable. So if it's not raining, I can pack it away, and if it is, I can just pop it on. And if it's a little bit wet, it'll protect me. But if it's super wet, I'm gonna get wet because your legs are gonna get wet, your feet are gonna get wet, that kind of thing. Cody Davis says state of Florida is going open back here for business restaurants, 25% capacity, theme parks at the end of May, early June. But barbers and hair salons will stay closed for the time being. That's funny. You know what? Someone asked me a question about conspiracy theories the other day, and one kind of conspiracy that I mean, not, it's not a conspiracy theory. It's just one thing that I suspect is I wonder like why is it like that Sony like barbershops are like why are like certain states allowing barbershops to open? I don't know. I think there's a racial component to that. And it goes into to a dark place, but that's kind of my concern there. But like barbershops and salons staying closed for the time being, I think that makes a lot of sense because you have to get so close to someone. And it's not necessarily proximity. It's like proximity plus time, I think that is the bigger thing that you're worried about. And like going to a barber, that's like 30 minutes of someone being in my face, you know. So I think it could be a problem. Motivation Theory Running says he has an old foam roller that is purple, just plain foam, nothing else. Love it. Can't find one like it because they decided to over engineer a foam roller. Yeah, that's how mine is too. Exactly the same. It's just foam. Like when they sold it to me at Flea Feet, they were like, this is foam, like number 658. And like it was like it referred to like a density, and I don't know what the numbers of the densities are, so I'm making up the numbers because I don't remember it. But it was like this is like a 7 weight foam. Here it is. You're gonna love it. I was like, okay, I'll buy it. That's how they sold it to me. It didn't have any features. But if I were to buy one now, I'd probably buy one of the ones that can fold flat, and then you can like pop it back open so it becomes like a cylinder again. That's probably what I would get, just for the space saving. Because that thing is hard to kind of store. Joe Griffith says, I've had fun trying to improve cadence, leg turnover lately, even on slower days. Worth worrying about? I think for some people it is. For me, I don't really value that all that much because I feel like the your like leg turnover is a function of your speed. And so like to the extent that like you want to speed up, the way you speed up is by turning your legs over faster, not by like pushing off harder, you know? And so like that's kind of how I feel like those things are connected. But like I don't worry about like trying to maintain like, 180 like paces per second, regardless of paces per minute, regardless of pace. I think that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Cody Davis says Craig Inglis has a good stash. He does. That's definitely like push broom style as well. It's just really thick and full, and I I can't compete with that for sure. Um, Oski 501 says, have I ever tried Salming shoes? They're Swedish, just bought a pair on discount. I've never tried those before. They're very interesting, but I've never had a chance to try them out. Aaron Davis says, what up, Co? It's nice and cool in San Antonio this morning, 90 something now. Ooh, it's hot now, but it's good that it was cool in the morning. Good to see you, Aaron Davis. There used to be a guy that worked for me named Aaron Davis. I don't know where he is now, so I don't know if you're the same Aaron Davis. I'm guessing you're probably not, though. But good to see you. Reggie Humphrey says Sam Parsons. Jan Kundorfer says love watching Joshua Cheptegei. Yeah, yeah, very beautiful form. Um, John Bryant around also says Cheptegei for the form. Bekele because we're both short. That's awesome. Antonio Del Carmen says, "What earbuds are you wearing? Are those the Driver 75Ts?" No, these are not. These are Caltronics Sound Liberty 79, Sound Liberty 79s. They are tuned for voice calls, and so like much as I like the Jabra 75, Jabra Elite 75Ts, I think these sound a little bit better. There's just a little bit more bass that comes through, I think, in the conversation, and it does a little bit of a better job not picking up like the TV that's going on over there. So I do actually like these. I don't think that I would go out and buy them separately and spend money on them, even though they're not that expensive. They were like $80, I think. But since I have them, I feel like I'll use them, and these are the only ones. They only pair with this iPad, and so then I'm not like making sure that like sometimes the earbuds pair to my phone versus this or that. Just kind of like one to one. Keep my life simple. Um, yeah, Luis Becerra says like that's what they said on the Breaking Two Nike project about DeCisa, like his form. Yeah, like yeah. He runs really weird, but he also makes me feel better because when I'm not holding cameras in one of my arms, my left arm like swims a little bit. And so, yeah, I definitely know like the feeling of like people telling you you're doing it wrong. And my running's very visible, so people tell me I'm doing it wrong all the time. Smart Max is coming in from Italy. Good to see you. J. Mark Remy says, is that a Titan version of the Grit X, or do they all look like that? Commute was added to my Vantage V. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, no, this is just the Grit X that I have. You could tell because the buttons are a little bit different. To the round versus I don't know what the Titan version of the Vantage V looks like, but I've been playing around with the Komoot quite a bit. I really enjoy it. I think it works really well as long as you're getting a good GPS signal. If you're not getting a GPS signal, it's not going to be able to work because that's how it does the turn-by-turn directions. But for me, even in like very like tight spaces in the city, I've been having some very sharp turns. It can differentiate very well between like a slight turn, a 90-degree turn, and then like a hard turn, like kind of like if I'm at like a six-corner intersection. So it's been pretty impressive. I can't wait to take it out on some trails, but that's going to have to wait for another day. Um, let's see. All right, sorry, I'm gonna start scrolling down towards the bottom just to make sure I kind of get everyone that's here. Sorry if I miss your questions today. If I ever miss your questions, feel free to like message me on Instagram or tweet at me. I'm always happy to answer questions. Jazzy says, have I ever raced in Canada? I don't think so, but I would love to run the Toronto Marathon or the Vancouver Marathon. I'd love to, although the Vancouver Marathon I think is hilly, but I'd love to run either in Vancouver or in Toronto. So those are some things that I have kind of like somewhere on my list, not super high priorities, but like my wife and I also wanted to just do like a vacation, without the kids to Toronto sometime. Just check out the restaurants, maybe go sometime when it's nice. People tell me that that Toronto is like a mix of like Chicago in terms of like the vibe of the city, but with a lot of the history and legacy of like an East Coast city. And so I'm like, oh, that could be like the perfect place for us. Except the weather is not it's like it's similar to here. I feel like it's just not great most of the year. Lil Gras says best breweries in Chicago. My favorite brewer in Chicago is Easily Revolution Brewery. They make some great beers. I love the Antihero, and I love um, they have a Christmas beer that I also really like. Some people really don't like it. A lot of beer snobs don't like it, um, but me, maybe it's just because I like things that are like Christmas oriented or Christmas branded. I like their Christmas beer as well. And then they have like uh, one like a summer beer. It's like a sun something that's also really tasty. Also in the neighborhood around me, like a couple blocks from where I live, there is a brewery called Dry Hop, which is delicious beer as well. It's much stronger beer. Real beer nerds tend to really love the beers that are there. I love that it's a local brewery that I could walk to and get growler service from. So like I love like the idea of like bringing two jugs to the brewer and be like, fill them up and take them home and have them like outside or at a picnic. So that's nice. Um, Colin Baker says like I think you're gonna maybe start a little storm here saying UP should be Wisconsin. They're all Packers fan anyway. Might as well make it official. Yeah, I think that if the UP is going to do anything and change affiliations, it's just going to become its own state or country. There's no way that it would join up with Wisconsin. It doesn't even really like being part of Michigan, I think. So, so that's that. Um, Joshua Payne says, "Hey Kofuzi, first time tuning into the live stream, but have been in love running to the podcast the next day. Perfect for your 5 to 6 mile 40-minute runs." That's awesome. I love that. I'm glad that you enjoy it. Like I worry that like the format doesn't like translate well from like the audio from here to the podcast. But I'm thinking like there's like radio call-in shows that people like listening to, like at their commute, when they're at work. And I hope that you kind of get that vibe here where you're not just me like interacting with people in chat, but like we're having conversations too that runners have and that people have, and so hopefully that's interesting. So I'm really glad to have that feedback. um, I'm seeing some of like the playback statistics that come back from those, and so yesterday's episode I think was the highest listened to podcast episode that I've had so far, and it had 20 playbacks. So thanks everybody who's tuning in to the audio version of live stream. It the reason, I mean, one of the reasons it should be low because right now I'm having major technical difficulties like I've been having for the live stream here on YouTube. And like yesterday's, I think just cut off at the end because I messed it up. So I apologize. We'll get it. I'll get it. I'll figure it out. I mean, I have plenty of chances. I'm doing this every day, so I got to get it right. Kyle McHugh asks, you may have been asked this already, but are you looking at the Saucony Endorphin Pro and coming in July? Seems like a carbon plated Kimbara. I am looking forward to it. I don't have anyone that's sending it to me or anything, so I'm going to be, fighting with you guys to try and get a pair myself. But I'm super excited for it. It's probably the shoe that I'm most excited for in 2020. Not just that shoe, but the entire like series, like all three. There's like the Pro, then there's like the Tempo one, and there's the not Tempo one. I forget the names of it. So yeah, so I'm definitely looking forward to it. Can't wait to get some of that and like the Edizero Pro. Really excited. Tim Yasaki says, "Hi from Victoria, British Columbia. Still loving the chats, but have to get back to work now while tuning in." Awesome. Well, thanks for the time that you were able to spend with us today, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. Aaron Davis says, "No, not the same Aaron Davis, not the one that used to work for me." Because I do think he was from the South, but not Texas, and I know Texans don't consider themselves Southerners. Um, but he was from the South somewhere, I want to say. Anyway, I'm the one from Houston, Atlanta, Kofuzi meetups. Oh yeah. Very cool, very cool. Good to see you, man. Good to see you, Aaron. I didn't realize your last name was Davis. Very cool, very cool. Um, Sal B says, "Where are you getting all the hot tracks for the intros?" I use Epidemic Sound. It's a service. It costs $15 a month, and you can use as many of their tracks as you want in your social medias, and you get to use them as long as the content was made while you are subscribed. You get to keep using it. So it's not like if I like, cancel the subscriptions that I have to like then like demonetize those videos. So like that's good. So I feel like since I did that, it just saves me so much time, and I get a lot more music that's very specific to like what I'm like looking for in terms of feeling. So I highly recommend it for people that are out there making videos. um, I feel like, once you get like your mic situation set up, before you get a nicer camera, you should probably get like music if music is a part of your channel. That's kind of how important I think it is. SDOS says, "Took your advice about 7 months ago to try Nike Pegasus Air Zoom 36. We're getting over a plantar injury. Good advice. I feel great. It's still not over yet. So Ireland. Oh, okay. Um, well, sorry that it's still not over it yet, but I'm glad you're enjoying the shoe. Thanks for checking back in with me. I always have a hard time, like not hard time, but it's like I give a lot of recommendations out, and people don't always follow up with me. So it's nice when people do, because then I'm like, okay, it either confirms what I was thinking or it helps me correct what I've been thinking. So. Motivation Theory says, "LOL, people tell you that you're running wrong." Yes, they do. I've not heard that on his channel. Can't wait for all the correction. Yeah. Well, like, yeah, I get it a lot. I get it all the time. People telling me that, like, I definitely overpronate, that my foot's crashing inward and all that stuff. And I'm like, I mean, I think that like part of it is most people don't get to see like what running looks like in that much slow motion at that many different angles. And so sometimes I think the angles are somewhat misleading, um, and may exacerbate what things look like. But also, like people just love to comment. It, you'll get it soon. Trust me. The longer I mean, you're almost at I think 5,000 now. Like once you get there, like did you just cross 5,000? I think you did. You're close. Um, yeah. Then like people will start telling you all sorts of things that you're doing wrong. It's great. Uh, Roni Thomas says Toronto Marathon, please come. Dave 2D is here. Yeah, we talked about it earlier. My favorite tech YouTuber is Dave 2D. I didn't know he was in Toronto. For whatever reason, I thought he was in Vancouver. No, I did think he was in Toronto. Where did I think he was? Yeah, I think he was in Toronto. So, I mean, it's not like we'd want to hang out, although I don't know if he runs. I bet you he runs. I bet you he exercises at some level. Um, I don't know his last name. So I was going to say, let's look him up on Strava. But I bet you he's got to be on Strava. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see if we can track down Dave 2D. If he is like on Garmin, or do you think he's a Garmin guy or a Polar guy? He's he's probably an Apple Watch kind of guy. Anyway, that's the real sidetrack there. Um, yeah, Luis Becerra says, "Don't be afraid of the hills. If I go to Vancouver, it's fun. If you say so." Cody Davis says, "Is there any way to get more data fields when using the Vantage V? I want more than four." I don't think you can get more than four at a time, but you can have more screens. So you might have to swipe as you're looking through or hit the button. So this is like the selector button, and this is like the scroll up or scroll down button, or you can use this if you want to use like the touch screen when you're running. But you can set up multiple screens. So like you can have like four fields at a time, and then you can have a second screen with a different set of four, if you wanted to do that. So that's how you get more data on the Vantage and the Polar. All Polar watches are that way. Junkshu says, "Have I tried Zombie Dust?" Yes, I have. It's That's big in Iowa. Is that where I've had it? It's a tasty beer. It tastes very similar to the Gumball Head. I think it's a very similar style. I think it's a very similar hop that they're using as well. And so I think that's why the tastes are so similar. But both very delicious beer. Terrence Hui says, "I hear amazing things about Revolution Brewing. Kofuzi, if you ever come to San Francisco, I'd love to take you on a brewery tour. My favorite is Cellar Maker in San Francisco, but California has a great team." It certainly does. I remember the last time I spent a decent amount of time in San Francisco. I was at some bar near the wharf, and it had like 60 different beers on tap. And I thought that was so amazing. And I heard about like five of them. And so I was just like, I'm gonna be here all afternoon because I wanted to try as many of them as I could. Um, but yeah, so San Francisco, definitely a beer drinking town. I think the weather is really lends itself to the kinds of beer that a lot of the country is drinking now in terms of like the IPAs and some of the a little bit bitter beers. But yeah, delicious beers to be had. Um, Mark Trujillo says, "Best way to listen to the podcast? You can listen to it. I think I use Anchor to make the podcast, and then Anchor distributes it to everything else. And so Spotify, you can find it there, and Apple Podcasts. Those are the two that I use. I think it's also available on like Google Podcasts as well as like Stitcher. I think it's available on Stitcher. So it should be available in lots of places, any place that you get your podcast. If there's a place that you are getting your podcast that you don't see me, you should look up Kofuzi Run Club. Let me know, and I'll make sure I can like kind of emphasize that and try to push to get the podcast added there. So, I'll answer one more question because it's got kind of gone a little long and kept you guys here too long. The last one is from Dragon Bakima. It says, I don't see myself adapting to Maffetone. He's 39 and running in 141 beat per minute, which means me almost needs to be slow jogging. Will this change? I run 3 times a week, readings from Amsterdam. Two things. How long have you been doing it? It took me several months for me to really see changes. At about 500 miles of running at Maffetone, I started seeing like little hints. Like I'd have like a mile here or there where like I'd be able to actually like run decently. Not fast, but like something that was different than like a walk jog. Like the first couple hundred miles was a lot of like walk jogging. I was like running at least most of the time after maybe 250 or 300 miles of it. So it just took me a while to kind of adapt to it. Um, the other thing is, people will tell you if Maptone's not really, if your body's not responding to it, make sure you're getting enough sleep and giving your body chances to recover from it. Eliminate any kinds of fast switch activity like speed workouts or strength training, and just do the low heart rate running because those other systems are very the way I think of it, they're very jealous systems. Like if you activate those at all or get into like fast switch territory at all, your entire workout will just like it will be like a wasted. It won't have any like Maffetone benefit. It's kind of how I envisioned it. And the last thing might be like the Maffetone number might not be right for you. And so I would, if you've been doing it for a really long time and still have this problem, I'd recommend going and getting a heart rate max like an actual test in a lab to see what your numbers are, and then you can do easy running based on percentages of max heart rate versus using like the generalized formula of Maffetone. So those things I would look at. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in for today. That's all I have. I mean, I could sit here and chat with you guys forever, but I'm gonna go. I gotta take care of a couple more errands today, but I've been having so much fun talking with you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow or every day in the morning, 6 a.m. in the morning on Instagram. We're back here again every day at 3 p.m. for more chats and conversations with you guys. I've been having a great time here. Communing with you guys, and it's definitely been something that means a lot to me. Thank you guys all for tuning in live or listening to the podcast, however you're consuming it, or watching it on YouTube after the fact. I really appreciate it. Hope you guys all had a great run today. And if you haven't, when you do go run, be safe out there. Make sure you're keeping your distance, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks.